rallying. Some say it's the most challenging and demanding motorsport on earth. When most people think of rallying, they picture the World Rally Blue, neon yellow and gold wheels of Subaru, whose domination of the sport spanned nearly 2 decades. In the world of motorsports, there are a handful of brands that have cemented themselves in the history books. Some for building the fastest and most technically advanced cars ever seen, and others for creating the components that helped those teams achieve dominance. Subaru is one of those brands. They were the pinnacle of rallying for many, many years. One aspect that's often overlooked by the general public is lubrication. It's common knowledge that cars require oil to run, but when it comes to motorsports, they don't realise just how important it is. Without it, motors simply couldn't run, let alone provide the performance expected from WRC cars. There is one company that has cemented itself as a leader in this industry: Motul. They began life in 1853, setting up shop as Motul Standard Oil in New York under the Rockefeller Group. Their main product? Whale oil for lanterns. Motul's birth was at the height of the Industrial Revolution, when the world was shifting from manual labour to the use of machines. That shift came with new challenges, one of which was keeping the machines lubricated and running efficiently without overheating. Motul saw an opportunity to create the right oil for the right purpose, which has been their ambition ever since. Rather than putting their resources towards drilling oil and mass-producing consumer oil, Motul has taken a different and more custom approach. They took that time and money and focused it on finding the best resources for their ingredients, which in turn has allowed them to produce some of the highest quality products in the industry. It wasn't until 100 years later that things really started taking off for Motul. It began with the introduction of their Century multi-grade oil, which they quickly followed up with the world's first semi-synthetic motor oil, Century 2100. With 300 racing victories under their belt by 1971, Motul introduced the first full synthetic motor oil for use in automobiles, 300V. This is the part of the story where rallying and Subaru come in. Rallying doesn't take place on perfectly smooth tarmac. Races span multiple days. It's never cancelled due to the weather. Thanks to the demands for not only speed and power but also efficiency and longevity, many of the technologies that we see in standard road cars today started life in a rally car. Motul recognised the R&D opportunity that this crazy sport of rallying provided, and that's why they decided to go all in as a technical partner with the Subaru World Rally Team. Subaru was on top of the world. They had won 3 manufacturers' championships and 1 drivers' championship with Colin McRae in 1995. The relationship between the two companies was formed in 1999, which happened to be during the pinnacle of Subaru in the World Rally Championship. At the time of the partnership, Subaru had 2 drivers competing in the WRC. One was the Japanese star driver Toshi Arai, and the other was future WRC champion Richard Burns. The first 2 seasons were quite successful, with Burns winning 8 events and landing on the podium 5 more times. In 2001, Subaru introduced one of the most iconic rally cars of all time, the Impreza S7 WRC. It was based on the newly announced WRX, which was quickly deemed the Bug-Eye WRX by Subaru fans. The car was equipped with the latest version of the 2-litre flat-4 Boxer engine, which was a spectacular engine right off the showroom floor. But before thinking about competing, quite a few modifications were needed. Forged internals, high-pressure fuel systems, different turbos, and a specialised engine management system. All of these modifications were meant to do a few things: add more power, quicken the acceleration, and reliably handle this added performance. This meant that a high-quality lubricant was essential for success. With Motul, they had the ability to work closely with their engineers and chemists to create the perfect oil, not only for the Boxer engine, but also for the specific conditions at each rally. Freezing temperatures of Sweden, the high altitude of Mexico, and the excruciatingly long and challenging stages of the Safari Rally. The 2001 season didn't start off the way that anyone would have hoped. None of the 3 Subaru Imprezas finished the first round of the season in Monte Carlo. Things weren't looking good for Subaru until they took on the extremely technical and challenging Rally Argentina. Richard Burns, along with co-driver Robert Reid, achieved the team's first podium of the season. From then on, Burns proved his ability to land on the podium 5 times throughout the season and achieve a win in New Zealand, which was enough to write his name into the history books as the 2001 World Rally Champion. The following year, Burns made the decision to move on to a different team. Subaru wasn't planning on giving up. Fortunately, at Subaru's disposal was arguably the best car and engine package in the WRC, and a young driver by the name of Petter Solberg. In 2002, Subaru had put together the dream team of drivers, retaining Solberg and adding 4 times the WRC champion Tommi Mäkinen. Solberg saw continued success from the previous year, but unfortunately for Mäkinen, who was hard on cars, he didn't finish 8 of the 14 rounds that year. 2003 was a completely different story. Subaru was back on top, and Solberg was able to showcase the superiority of the latest S9 Impreza and the renowned Boxer engine. Much like the 2001 season, things started off a bit rough. Both drivers ended up not finishing in Monte Carlo and Turkey, but their misfortune didn't last. From the 4th round of the season all the way until the end, Solberg achieved some of the best results in rallying history, with a total of 4 victories and 4 more podiums, giving him enough points to make history as Subaru's 3rd World Rally Champion. Solberg had cemented himself as the final Subaru driver to win a Drivers' Championship for the team. And because of this, the Subaru and Solberg names went down in history together. That was the final WRC Drivers' Championship for the Subaru World Rally Team. And after a few more years with multiple rally wins and podiums for their drivers, Subaru announced their withdrawal from the World Rally Championship in 2008, officially stating that they had achieved their sporting and marketing objectives in rallying. The technical partnership between Motul and Subaru lasted nearly a decade, and thanks to that partnership, the 2 corporations were able to add 24 victories to their list. More importantly, Motul was able to develop their newest version of the 300V to deliver an even better oil to drivers all around the world. This wasn't the end of Motul and Subaru. They ventured to a new challenge, only this time it was in a different part of the world, the USA.